Hi everyone, welcome to the channel Sluggers Blue for your CAT RC preparation. In today's session, we shall be continuing with the same RC that we had taken up in the first part. This RC was asked in your CAT exam in the year 2018 in the first lot. I've titled the RC as Government and War Memorials. 511 words, 5 questions. In the first part, I had explained the passage to you paragraph by paragraph with the use of a schematic. In this is the second part where I'll be taking you through the questions. If you have not attempted the RC, the link to attempt the RC is available in the description. If you've not seen the if you want to see the first part where I explain the passage, again the link to that video is also in the description. And if you want to join the Telegram channel for Sluggers Blue for your CAT RC preparation, the same is in the description of the video. Okay, so let's start. Okay, now for those of you who might be watching these sessions for the first time, I'll just take you very briefly through the structure of the sessions. See, every single session caters to one RC, okay, and a session is made up of two parts. The first part is where I explain to you the passage in detail, paragraph by paragraph, and the second part is where I take you through the questions, where we discuss the questions. Okay, you are expected to have attempted the passage and read the passage and attempted the questions by yourselves. The link to do the same is available in the description of videos of both the parts. Okay, all right, now 40 such sessions make up a course that is titled as an anthology of RCs for your reading comprehension preparation for the CAT. All right, so I hope that's clear. Let's start. Coming to question number one, the author suggests that a major reason why India has not so far acknowledged its role in the Second World War is that so the point of reference that is relevant here for this question is the second paragraph, where the author talks about two reasons why he believes India has not acknowledged its role in the Second World War so far. Okay, the first reason he says that the Indian government's conception of the war memorial was not merely absent-minded, rather it accurately reflected the fact that both academic history and popular memory have yet to come to terms with India's Second World War, right? That both, so that's the first reason, that fundamentally, on a very fundamental level, the academic history or the popular memory of the country itself doesn't attribute much significance to the Second World War. It believes it to be just something that happened in the background, like he has used the metaphor of mood music, right? So that's the first reason that he cites. Second, he also provides a second reason why India has not acknowledged its role in the Second World War. He says that, and more essentially, the political trajectory of the post-war subcontinent has militated against popular remembrance of the war. And he says that with partition and the onset of India-Pakistan rivalry, both of the new nations needed fresh stories for self-legitimization rather than focusing on shared wartime experiences. So once after partition of the subcontinent into India and Pakistan, both the new nations, they needed new stories, fresh stories for to legitimize their own sovereignty, right? As opposed to focusing on the shared experience that they had as a single subcontinent trying to get freedom by getting involved in the Second World War. So neither of the nations was focused on was focused on the shared wartime experiences of the Second World War. They were both focused on creating fresh stories for their own for their respective nations, right? So that is provides as the second reason why India has not so far acknowledged its role in the Second World War. Now, which of these should be the answer? Guys, please note when he notes the second reason, there's also a modifier expression here. He says, and more essentially. That means among the two reasons, among the first and the second reason, the second reason has been considered by the author as being more essential. Okay, so now in light of that, let's look at the options. Option A wants to forget the human, and India has not acknowledged its role because it wants to forget the human and financial toll of the war on the country. The author has talked about the human and financial toll of the war on the country, but nowhere does he mention. So this part is all right, but nowhere does he mention that India wants to forget that. Okay, and moreover, it again does not. Author has not provided that as a reason. So you can eliminate this option with a capital E. Next, option B has been focused on building an independent non-colonial political identity. Yes, so that totally rings with your second reason, right? That's exactly what second reason says. Though they were focused, India was focused on building an independent non-colonial identity instead of focusing on the shared past or shared wartime experiences in the past. So yes, this can be an answer. Capital S. Next, views the war as a predominantly allied effort with India playing only a supporting role. views the war as a predominantly allied effort, with India playing only yes. So this in fact is the first reason, by the way, right? But so it is a reason why India has not acknowledged, one of the reasons, but like part of the first reason. This is part of the first reason, but please pay attention to the question step. It says a major reason. So if both of the reasons have been mentioned and the first one has been mentioned only partly here, you need to select the one that is the major reason. Then the major reason, as we noted, is option B, option two. Oh, sorry, the second reason, right? As is proved by this phrase and more essentially. So yes, you can eliminate this as well. Next, option D blames the war for leading to momentous partition of the country. So the author has mentioned partition, but he's talked about partition, but he hasn't talked about anyone blaming the war for the partition, or at least so the author has said that the war contributed. He says that he notes here that Second World War played a crucial role in both the independence and partition of the country. So yes, so war did play a crucial role in the partition as well, but India blamed the war for partition. That's something that has been not mentioned in the passage. Okay, so you can eliminate this with a capital E. Uh, Going to the next question now. Question number two. The phrase mood music used in the second paragraph to indicate that the Second World War, the phrase mood music is used in the second paragraph to indicate that the Second World War is viewed as, the point of reference is almost the same as the last question. And again, I've reproduced the schematic that we used to understand this in the passage explainer. So let's go through it. Rather, it accurately reflected, etc., etc., etc. Second World War, which continues to be seen as little more than mood music in the drama of India's advance. So that means it is being considered as a secondary factor, not a primary factor here, not a determining factor here, right? So that's what it means. Let's look at the options. First one says the phrase mood music is used in the second paragraph to indicate that Second World War is viewed as a setting the stage for the emergence of India-Pakistan rivalry in the subcontinent. The only part of this option that we agree with is setting the stage, because mood music, that's what it seemed to imply, that it was just a backdrop, it was just a secondary factor, it just set the stage, it was not a primary factor. But it was not setting the stage just for the emergence of India-Pakistan rivalry. So this is something that we definitely are against, would not agree with, and you can eliminate this with a capital E. Okay, next is viewed as a part of the narrative on the ill effects of colonial rule on India. Second World War is viewed as a part of the narrative on the ill effects of, so this option seems to imply that Second World War was one of the ill effects of colonial rule in India. Now, in general or outside of the passage, in the context of reality, we might agree, yes, Second World War can be considered one of the ill effects, because India had to then fight on part of Britain there. But that's not why the phrase mood music, that's not what the phrase mood music represents. Okay, here seems to convey here. The phrase mood music basically seems to convey that, well, what is mood music in the case of a drama? When you have a drama going on, that's the analogy that the author has used here, right? So if you have a drama going on, the actual story goes on the stage, where the actors are acting and going through dialogues and actions, etc. On the side, in the ambience, you have the mood music, right, which just sets up the backdrop or the stage, right? So and which one will be considered more important? The actual acting that's taking place on the stage in the drama will be considered more important, the dialogues and everything. Mood music is considered secondary, right? So that's the analogy that the author has used here. Mood music represents the secondary nature of Second World War, of in with respect to India's independence and partition. It has nothing to do with the ill effects of colonial rule on India, right? So you can eliminate this with the capital E. Next, a tragic period in terms of loss of lives and national wealth. Yes, so it was. So Second World War can be viewed, it was a tragic period. That's true. The author has talked about that, the Bengal famine here. But that's not again what the phrase mood music is used to convey. Okay, so again you can eliminate this with a capital E. Next, a backdrop to the subsequent independence and partition of the country. Yes, that's exactly what it means, right? That's what we discussed. Mood music as a backdrop to drama. Drama happens to be is represented by the independence and partition of the region, and the Second World War is being seen as the mood music as a backdrop, right? So this completely makes sense and will be selected with a capital S as your answer. Okay. Coming to the third question, the author lists all of the following as outcomes of the Second World War except. So three of these four options will be points that have been listed by the author as outcomes of the Second World War. So true as per the passage, and one of them will not be true. The one that is not true will be your answer. Okay, so let's come to the first one. Look at the first one. US's recognition of India as strategic location and role in the war. So yes, that's mentioned here. The author just talked about that. This led the United States to take considerable interest in the country's future and ensure that it was no longer the preserve of the British government. So this makes sense. You can this is true as per the passage, and the author has listed that, and hence can be eliminated with a capital E. Next, the large financial debt India owed to Britain after the war. Now, the question setter has made a very subtle nuance, has created a very subtle nuance with respect to this option. You know, it does relate to something that has been mentioned in the passage, where the author says that other wartime developments in the pointed in the direction of India's independence. In a stunning reversal of its long-standing financial relationship with Britain, India finished the war as one of the largest creditors to the imperial power. That means India was the creditor and Britain was the debtor. Okay, while the option says just the reverse. It says the large financial debt that India owed to Britain after war. It seems to imply that India was a debtor and Britain was a creditor. But the passage mentions just the opposite, that India was the creditor and Britain was a debtor. So this is definitely incorrect, false, and thus can be your answer with a capital S, that is strong selection. Next, large-scale deaths in Bengal as a result of deprivation and famine. Uh, Now, it has been mentioned in the passage, right? The author talks about at great human cost with Bengal famine, the most extreme manifestation of widespread wartime deprivation. So, cost, right? So, yes, large-scale deaths in Bengal as a result of deprivation and famine. Uh, so, this is also true as per the passage and can be eliminated with a capital E. Next, independence of the subcontinent and its partition into two countries. This has also been given. The author does note that, however, the Second World War played a crucial role in both the independence and the partition of the country. So yes, he has listed independence and the partition as an outcome. The Second World War did play a crucial role there, right? So again, true and can be eliminated with a capital E. So your correct answer will thus here be option B. Okay, wait, I'll just use a different ink for this. Option B will be your correct answer, guys. Okay. Okay, coming to question number 4. The author claims that omitting mention of Indians who served in the Second World War from the new National War Memorial is okay. So let's look at the options one by one. The first one says, is something which can be rectified in future by constructing a separate memorial. No, the author hasn't talked about nothing on these lines. So this will be a case of error of inclusion. Constructing a separate memorial is something that the author hasn't talked about anywhere in the passage. So eliminated with the capital E is a reflection of misplaced priorities of the post-independence Indian governments. Now, some learners and students might have fallen for this. Yes, please note the author says the Indian government has announced an international competition. There's no discussion about all the set of post-independence Indian governments. No discussion of all these governments. This whole collection of post-independence Indian governments has been undertaken by the author in the passage. So please note that. One. Second, this option seems to imply that a reflection of misplaced priorities, that there is a sense of volition involved on part of the governments where it is intentionally misplacing priorities. It is more prioritizing something else over something else, right? While the author clearly notes that the problem is not really with the government. The problem is more importantly, with how the academic history and popular memory in the country on a very fundamental level regards India's involvement in the Second World War as something that is not of prime importance. That's one of the concerns. And second concern, how both the countries after partition were focused on creating self-legitimizing fresh stories for themselves. He doesn't say anything about like how the government should have prioritized this, but it is prioritizing something else. Okay, so that is again a concern that we have with this option, and hence we can eliminate this with a capital E. Option C, appropriate as their names can always be included in the India Gate Memorial. The author doesn't consider the omission of the mention of Indians who served in the Second World War as appropriate. That's a factual error. Okay, option C will be a factual error, and you can eliminate this also with a capital E. In fact, that's here's the whole point of writing the passage is because he doesn't find that appropriate. He wants to alter that, change that, right? So, yeah. Last option, a reflection of the academic and popular view of India's role in the war. A reflection of the academic and popular view of the India's role in the war. Yes, the author has, that's exactly what he says. He says, rather, it accurately reflected the fact that both academic history and popular memory have yet to come to terms with India's Second World War. Right? So, yes, it reflects the academic and popular view of India's role in the war. That's absolutely correct. Capital S will be your answer. Okay, coming to the next question. In the first paragraph, the author laments the fact that you need to complete the sentence with one of the options. Laments, guys, what does the word lament mean? Lament means to express disappointment with regards to something, or to express, to complain about something, like not be happy about something. Okay, so let's look at the options. And then see, please note that the author has just talked about the first paragraph here, right? You need to be very careful about these things. So that's the only paragraph that we can consider for this question. So, what as this question is concerned. So, yeah, first option, the new war memorial will be built right next to India Gate. So, yes, this is mentioned in the first paragraph. He says that the terms of the competition also specified that the new structure would be built adjacent to the India Gate and right adjacent to the India Gate. So that's true. But so it does satisfy this part, that yes, it is mentioned in the first paragraph. But does it satisfy with the layman's part? Does the author lament that it will be built next to adjacent to the India Gate? No, the author's concern or issue is not with where it will be built. It's the issue is with his issue is mainly with what does the new war memorial commemorate? As in, it does not commemorate the Indians or the Indian efforts that were involved in the Second World War. It only commemorates the service of the soldiers, of the Indian soldiers, in the years after independence, that is 1947. So that is what he laments about. That is what he's disappointed about, not about where it is going to be built. So it is mentioned, but that's not what he laments about. So you can eliminate this with a capital E. Okay. Next, uh, there is no recognition of the Indian soldiers who served in the Second World War. There is no recognition of the Indian soldiers who served. Yes, that's exactly what we discussed right now, right? So that's true. That can be your answer with a capital E. He does lament that. The point of reference is between the old imperialistic memorial and the proposed nationalistic one, India's contribution to the Second World War is addressed out of existence. Okay. Next, India lost thousands of human lives during the Second World War. Now, this is something that is mentioned in the passage, and the author probably also obviously is disagreeable about that. He definitely would be disappointed about that. So because the passage says here, it mentions right, the Indian Army recruited, trained, and deployed some 2.5 million men, and almost 90,000 of which were killed, right? So lost thousands of human lives. But you can eliminate this just by from the fact that this comes from the third paragraph. It does not come from your first paragraph, right? So, and in the you need to stick to the question stem, to what's been asked in the question stem. We need to, it says in the first paragraph what is the author lament about, right? So you don't even have to consider whether the author has clearly lamented about loss of human lives or during the Second World War of belonging to India or not. just the point, the fact that just the fact that this does not belong to the first paragraph is enough to eliminate this. Okay, so option D, funds will be wasted on another war memorial when we already have the India Gate memorial. Limits the fact The author limits the fact that funds will be wasted on another. The author's point is not to stop making the current war memorial to save funds. The author point is, okay, make this war memorial but also commemorate or bring into the purview of this memorial the other uh, the soldiers or the efforts that were put into the Second World War before independence. That's what he means to say. He doesn't mean to imply here that please, like, this is just a waste of funds and making another war memorial. So it's not implied or stated anywhere or even hinted anywhere. So you can eliminate this with a capital E. Your correct answer will thus be option B. Okay. Okay, guys, so coming to the vocabulary part. Now, the way we'll go about this is I have marked some of the words which I figured that some of you guys may have found challenging while reading the passage. And I provided the primarily contextual meanings of the words on the right side. Well, I will not be taking you through each and every word or discussing them here because we're going to have separate vocab courses as in different playlists. And yeah, so the way you're supposed to get through this is like pause the video, go through the word in its context, and then check the meaning of the word, right? So that'll help you internalize the meaning of the word for future. Okay, so coming to the passage analysis part, we'll start with the first parameter, which is genre. So, guys, again, for those of you who might have found it difficult to understand the passage in terms of terminology or comprehend the passage in terms of the ideas discussed here, it will then definitely benefit you if you read some more content from this particular genre from which to which the passage belongs. Next, readability of the passage. The readability has been rated on a scale of 1 to 10, which is based on a variant of Flesch Kincat scale. The scale is quite ubiquitously, used across all domains, all genres, and all domains of writing, and it's quite reliable. So yeah. So again, so if your accuracy was really less, and this passage happens to be if the readability happens to be quite high of this passage, then definitely makes a case that you might want to practice more with passages that are more difficult to comprehend. Okay. Next, passage length. Please think of the passage length not just in terms of words, but rather in terms of number of words per question, right? So that again can have a bearing on what steps you might want to take to recalibrate your approach. In terms of, like, let's suppose if you found your accuracy to be quite less, if the passage was too long, then you might want to concentrate on longer passages. Ideal time for the passage to read the passage and ideal time to answer the questions, and total ideal time has been mentioned here. And finally, I've provided here you a couple of articles which belong to the same genre and are kind of on the related topic, so that you can get more exposure in this particular genre and in this genre basically. Okay, all right. Okay, guys, with this, we are done with the second RC of your history genre. And for those of you who have not solved the earlier RCs of the previous genres or have not watched the videos, explanations of the same, you can go to the playlist of the course and of the channel, an anthology of RCs, and you can attempt the RCs and you can watch the explanations. Okay, and finally, we are done with the session. So now, those of you who might have not watched the passage explainer, the part one of this RC, you can do so by clicking here. It will lead you to the respective video, and you can also find the link of the video in the description. And those of you who would like to check out the intro or maybe the whole playlist, you can click here. This will take you to the playlist. And do subscribe and share if you like the channel. Do put your feedback in the comment section if you liked it, or there's something that you would want to have added. And yeah, so that's about it, guys. Thanks. See you in the next one.